Everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. The video I have for you today is what happens if you miss your cruise ship and it sails away from you and you're left standing at the pier. What happens to you? What happens to your stuff? It's an interesting story. Stick around for it. Thanks for subscribing to my channel, everybody. Really appreciate your support, and thank you for the thumbs ups and also all of you hitting the bell notification icon. And a quick word to Ambrian Travel. Thank you for joining me, folks, on my upcoming group cruise, December 2020, on the Harmony of the Seas. If you want to join us for a one-week cruise out of Port Canaveral, check the link down below. Ambrian will take good care of you. All right, let's talk about what happens to you and all of your stuff on the ship if you miss your cruise ship when you're out on a excursion. It isn't pretty, let me tell you that. The hope is that when you left the ship with ID, hopefully your passport, hopefully you left with a credit card or two and some cash, because once you come back like these stragglers here and your ship is already 5 feet off the pier or 100 feet or half a mile away, you're on your own. Captain Stubing, he knows. The captain knows you missed your ship. Everyone at the gangplank knows you missed your ship because they have the computer printouts telling them how many passengers have not come back on board and who are they. The captain will not only know, but he'll inform his team, the security officer. He'll also inform everyone in the hotel division. At guest services, they all know you didn't make the ship. And what happened was, while you were still on land, they had already called your name out on board the ship. They were asking for you to contact guest services. They would have tried twice, waited 5 minutes each time, and then they would have sent in the security officer and a hotel manager into your cabin, and they would have been looking for telltale signs that you are basically still on shore, not on the ship. They're looking for your passport. They're looking for any credit card stuff you've left behind. They're inside your cabin looking at your safe because they have the master key to check if you took that with you. If you took your passport with you, your wallet with you, or if you took your meds with you, the medications you need every day, they will breathe a sigh of relief. If you did not, they will gather all this up. They will gather up your passports, your wallet, your credit cards, your medication. They will bring it down to guest services, down to the gangplank, and they will then hand it off as they are getting ready to unmoor the ship. But they take the lines away. They're going to hand all that information off to this person right here. Hopefully, you'll run into this gal. Or you'll run into the port security officer who will hopefully take good care of you as well. They will hand you your stuff. All the rest of your luggage will stay on board the ship, and you'll have to deal with that later. First thing you got to do, get on a horn, get on a phone ASAP, dial the 1-800 number of the cruise line. Let them know you're alive and well, you didn't die anywhere, you just missed your ship. And now they will begin to work with you along with staff at the pier, hopefully, to get you to where you got to go. If you're in Europe, like in Rome or something like that, I have good news for you. Easy to get from Rome to the next port of call. Easy to find accommodation. Easy to find food. Anywhere in Europe here, it's easy to move around. If, however, you've been stranded at, say, the Cayman Islands right here, first class place to hang out, but very expensive. They do have an airport, they do have hotels, but they might be all booked up, or a room might run you $300 to $500 a night just to stay there. If you're in Jamaica, here in Falmouth, well, you've got some other issues to worry about. Personal security, getting to the airport, finding a hotel, getting the heck out of there. Anywhere in the Caribbean, it varies. Some Caribbean islands are much safer than others. You might get lucky in some of the Caribbean nations to be able to stay at a place like the Holiday Inn Express, get a decent rate, not too outrageous, but you might be, well, fortunate or unfortunate to have to stay here at a place like Nassau, Bahamas, the Paradise Island facilities here, Atlantis, or here in Cozumel at a private resort. Here you might be, you might be having to pay 2, 3, 4, 500 a night, minimum certain number of nights. I don't know. It all depends on where Are you in your cruise itinerary? You might be able to go here in Nassau right to the airport, grab a flight to the next stop the cruise ship is going to, and catch up with your ship. You might just sit here in the terminal and wait it out. But in other cases, you might have to fly back to where you came from because it's the second last day of your cruise or the third last day and it just isn't going to work out. So you'll grab a one-way flight maybe back to Miami in Florida if that's where your cruise started from. If it's a Caribbean cruise that started from this area of Fort Lauderdale, Miami, that kind of thing. If it's Europe, well, you're going to have to fly back to where you boarded your ship and likely reclaim your luggage there because the ship will have it, and then fly home from whatever airport you were going to fly home from out of Europe. The cruise line will pack your luggage for you once they have directions and instructions from the folks at head office, because the cruise ship has also informed head office you didn't come back and you never made it back to the cruise. So kiss goodbye all of this luscious food that you could have had. Kiss goodbye the beautiful views from the ship, all the desserts. Mind you, maybe you lose some weight with all this running around. It's good for you. Not fun. One more thing to caution you on. Let's say you're on a cruise and the weather gets nasty. After all, in the Caribbean, you can have hurricane season. In Northern Europe, you can have some serious gales. You may find that, yeah, the ship in 2 days is going to be at a certain port. Well, that was the itinerary, but that's not where the ship is going to be in 48 hours because these weather systems could screw up the entire remainder of the itinerary, and now you don't know where your ship is going. And in effect, your cruise is over. You're now going to have to make arrangements to really get back to the home port where this whole thing started, because that is likely how you're going to get home from with regards to return airfare if you flew into the port city. So you just never know with these kinds of things. Hopefully, it won't happen to you, but these kinds of pictures here, this is the reason right here, one of the reasons why cruise lines are producing these or developing these private island getaways, because you can't get lost here. You can't go very far. Everyone who comes onto these private islands makes it back to the ship on time. It's the stops where you get off the ship and don't take the ship tour. You take your own little tour, or you decide you want to buy a nice diamond ring at cutthroat prices at a duty-free shop in a Caribbean island. That's where people get screwed up because they haggle so much and shop so much they forget the lack of time, or they've got the wrong time on their watch versus ship time. They get back to the port too late and they miss their boat. And this is what the folks on board are looking at, open water, and you're not part of the cruise. So anyway, be careful, be mindful. That's what happens if you miss your ship. It's your responsibility to get back on time. It is up to you to figure out a way to reach the ship or get back home, and it's at your expense. Even if you have travel insurance, you may or may not be covered depending on the exemptions. Personal screwing up might not be covered under your policy. Look for the fine print. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. It's Bruce with Traveling with Bruce saying, talk to you later, everybody. Bye for now.